Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. David Snowpack here from Snowpack Games. Oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've streamed. I mean, I guess it's only 2 weeks since the last time I streamed, but before that it was like 3 weeks, and so I don't know. I feel very out of practice. I'm extra nervous this time because it's just been so long. Is anybody out there? I see 4 eyeballs on my eyeball counter, and I'm all alone on the overlay. Say something in chat to get a little character, guys. Let me know you're out there. That's the only way I know who is actually watching, other than this eyeball with an integer. But after you, say something so you get a character there and let me know that you're there, how is everybody doing? By me, things have been crazy. This past weekend, my sister was in town. She lives in Portland. We went to the country to visit my aunt and uncle who live out in the middle of nowhere, and took my girls, and it was awesome. They got to chase chickens for a while and check out. They have some apiaries. They raise bees. They do all sorts of country life things out there. In game dev wise, a couple of days ago, I got WebXR working in Godot 4, which is like this weird relief. I feel like I've been like secretly nervous about whether or not WebXR would be able to go in Godot 4. Hey, Nyanel, welcome to the stream, Chesh. Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a long time, man. But I'm back-ish, I hope. I hope I don't have to keep stopping my streams. All the times that I skipped my stream, I kept saying like, well, like I could just do a surprise stream like at night sometime when I just like I feel like it, but I never feel like it. At night I want to like write code by myself or play VR games or like watch a show with my wife. So like I don't know. Maybe one of these days. But yeah, so I got WebXR working minimally in Godot 4. There's a possibility, depending on not just my work, but like how other things evolve in Godot 4, if we'll be able to get that into Godot 4.0, or if it's gonna have to wait for 4.1. But I don't know. I'm excited about that. VR has just been in my brain, which is sort of weird that this time we're not working on a VR game. For this stream, we're gonna work on Retro Tank Party. But I kind of want to get. I just want to get this done. Godot 4 related, actually, like I really want to get all of my add-ons and plugins and stuff that I maintain for Godot ported to Godot 4 by the end of the year. That would be really, really cool. Which a lot of that stuff is used in Retro Tank Party, so I kind of want to have it air quotes finished before I start doing that. Hey, Upgrade, welcome to the stream. That is the correct spawn avatar method. No syntax errors at all. What kind of characters we get? 9L got like a monk with a beard. Upgrade also looks kind of like a monk with a beard. Who am I? I'm like a old dude with a shield. Maybe I'm a retired legionnaire or something. Pretty decent characters. Decent characters. Not amazing. But yeah. So how are you guys doing? Any updates on your projects or things you got going on? It is quite hot. So it's actually just been hot in general. This whole summer has been crazy hot. So it cooled down for a couple of days, and now it's a hot-ish again, but it's only like in the 80s, I think. We had some 90s, and of course, like I'm in a place that doesn't get that hot. Although that stuff is changing. My sister lives in Portland, and last year, Portland's not traditionally a place that gets hot, but they got like 110-degree temperatures there last year. So I don't know. Everything's 34. Jeez, that is really hot. Yeah, my brain for converting between the different what is the word? Temperature. The different temperature systems has gone away. Ooh, what did I do? I did something, not the thing I wanted to. I was going to bring up a web browser and attempt to figure out what 34 in Celsius is in Fahrenheit. It's a lot, though. I can tell you that. Jeez, 93? That is hot. You know, like when you, so like I for a period of time, I may have mentioned this. My wife and I stayed in Poland for a little bit over a year, and like doing everything in metric, I just got used to it, and it was fine. And then came back here, and then I've forgotten it. Like I can't quite orient myself to it anymore. I can orient myself to 34 being crazy hot though. I remember like a hot day being like 25. Anyway. Upgrade, got 3D characters in 2D with SG physics? That's awesome! Whoa, 41 degrees by you? What the heck? This world, what is going on with this world? Unless you live in a hot place, Upgrade. I forget where you said you stay at. But yeah, 105 degrees in Fahrenheit? That's deadly. That's too much. Too much. Anyway, I'd love to see your SG Physics 2D, 3D characters and 2D thing. You should totally share like a GIF or something of that on the Discord. Hey, MeWe Arts, welcome to the stream. Appreciate dedication to showcasing Rollback netcode. you thank you and you're welcome. Yeah, so like I was saying, I want to start porting my stuff to Godot 4, and so the Rollback netcode is on my list. I think probably SG Physics 2D will be the first thing, because it's, I don't know, simpler. And I guess, okay, so I've talked for a really long time about how I want to convert the Godot Rollback netcode add-on to C++ to try and address some of its performance issues. So what I think I'm going to do is finish the last 2 features that need to be in the Godot Rollback netcode add-on, for it to be air quotes finished. It'll never really be finished, but kind of like the 2 big things I want to get in there. One of them is spectator support, which we're going to be working on today. And the other is the ability to disconnect and reconnect to a match, as well as letting people connect in the middle of a match. And those 2 things are like the 2 big missing features. And then I want to translate it to C++ for Godot 3. And then I think I'm just going to port the C++ version to Godot 4 and not even bother with porting the GDScript version, since performance is kind of such a big deal when it comes to rollback netcode that I don't really see the point of having a GDScript version if we can have one that does all the same things but faster. Yeah, it's 50 in India. That's crazy. Anyway, just checking out what character MeWe Arts got. All right. We're like a pack of pretty normal looking folks. We didn't get any orcs or anything. So anyway, yeah. If no one else has anything else to report on your projects and whatnot, we can get started on this spectator stuff. Also, you may have noticed, or maybe you've not noticed, I'm using a new window manager now. I used Ion, and then later a fork of Ion called Notion since 2001. So the last 21 years, I've pressed the same keys on my keyboard to like switch to a new window or resize a window or whatever. And like a week and a half ago, I switched to i3. And so I'm probably gonna be weird and slow. I need to re-teach my fingers how to use a computer. But yeah. Ooh, lots of new chats coming in. Welcome to the stream, Gulliver Jaham, however you pronounce your name. Is the joining between match, you send the state and let it resync? Yes. So basically, the way it would work is a new person would join. The host, which is just one of the peers, the host isn't particularly special, except they're given these kind of one-off jobs, will package up the state, send it to the new peer. They'll get that state going, and then once they're ready, they'll join the sync, and all the other peers will start expecting input from them. What else we got? 30 in Sweden. Man, it's hot everywhere. There was a discussion going on today about different networking structures and what options we can look for different needs. Could we have a little segue about how commercials go about implementing all that without facing the users with complicated IP and port forms. Is that possible for P2P? Yeah. So Retro Tank Party, for example, is peer-to-peer. It uses WebRTC, so you never have to go open a port in your firewall or deal with routers or any of that kind of stuff, because WebRTC has built-in NAT hole punching, which takes care of that over stun and turn, which we've talked about stun and turn a whole bunch on older streams. I don't know if anyone wants me to go into that, but stun is this technology for allowing peers to find a port and IP that they can use to connect directly to each other, and it works in a lot of cases. But there are sometimes weird routers or weird forms of NAT that make it not work. So then you have turn, which is essentially you set up relay servers, and both the peers connect to the relay server, and it relays the data between them. Different like networking technologies provide their own kind of network relay. So like Steam's peer-to-peer is just network relays. Steam has set up these relay servers all over the world, and if you release your game on Steam, you can use the Steam APIs to let your players connect through those. PlayFab, a similar kind of thing. They have their own relay servers. There's also, for non-peer-to-peer games, like dedicated server situations, and then like the developer is renting space in data centers and setting up their own servers with their own public IPs. So then, you know, players just connect directly to them the same way they directly connect to a website on the internet, and then they don't have to deal with any kind of extra router setup. Yeah, global warming, it's the worst. It's actually astonishing how quickly the weather has gotten so weird. Like, I remember as a kid, which for me was the 80s, people talking very theoretically about this global warming thing. This could maybe happen if we don't change what we're doing now in the 80s. And kind of nothing happened until like now. Everything's going crazy. Everything's, the world has lost its mind. Anyway, I kind of forget like exactly what was working and what wasn't working from last week when we were doing the spectator stuff. So let's just test it out really quick. And let me attempt to make this slightly less complicated. I'm going to press a button, do something I want to happen. Oh. Ooh. It's not exactly what I wanted to happen, but that's fine. We can live with that. Like I said earlier, for people who are just getting on, I've just started using the i3 window manager, and so I'm a little bit of a noob as far as navigating my way around. All right, let's launch some game instances. And how do I want to make that work? Well, okay, let's just try it, and then I'll figure out the i3 stuff in a second. Also, I hope the stream frame rate is good. All my like tweaking of my computer, for whatever reason, led to like OBS not wanting to use hardware video encoding, and so I hope things aren't choppy and weird. If they are, please let me know, so that I can try and correct that. Okay, so I want you to go down here. Yay. Okay, and then I want to split horizontally a new frame, which I guess I'm going to launch from a terminal. Let's get to games, Retro Tank Party. We need to launch SG Physics 2D, as my deterministic physics engine is being used in this game. And then this should get us 2 instances, although we need 3 instances actually for we need 3 instances to test out spectating. Oh my god. Is this just going to be a stream in slow motion? This is a window management stream where I try and... okay. No, what did I do? Oh my god, this is embarrassing. Okay, so let's try this again. i3, you are cool, but different than what I'm used to. All right, so then I want this to split down, and then I'm going to turn it into tabs, right? So, oh, but it spawns over here. All right, Getting used to this. Okay, what? Oh my god. I maybe should have just like gone back to Ion for the stream, but no, that's a cop-out. That's a cop-out. I need to get used to this. If I'm going to be using it for all of my things, I need to get used to it. Okay. So it's going to launch over here because I have i3 programmed to launch all my Godot windows in a particular spot, which most of the time I like. But since I use a different desktop for my stream, that's a little weird. And then I want to send this one down. And then I want to make this into tabs. Okay, okay. We don't need to use this in German, I don't think. Let's go to a civilized language like Polish. All right, so we have two clients we are going to connect. And then we need a third client, which I guess we're going to launch up here to be the spectator. I maybe should disable the thing that's making the windows launch on a particular desktop for streams. That might be good. But we got that over there. Okay. Oh, sweet. MiwiArts tells me the frame rate isn't bad. That's awesome. Upgrade also says it too. Thanks, guys. For the record, my interest in Rollback netcode comes from my participation in the fighting game community. Cool. Yeah. Well, so Rollback netcode isn't the right netcode for all games, which should be obvious, right? I think for some reason people on the internet get this idea like, oh, Rollback's the best ever. But for fighting games, it is the best ever. But yeah, definitely it's a great fit for fighting games, and I know that the fighting game community very much likes it. Okay, so wait, I just got all these clients connected, and the button to be a spectator is in here. Hang on. Oh, jeez. Okay, so, oh, I could have used the terminals in here. That's what I'm gonna do next time. That's what I'm gonna do next time. Okay, then I don't have to deal with splitting my window and all these things. I think I'm on the wrong branch, and we're gonna have to launch all those again. What did I call it? Called it spectators. Okay, so back to the drawing board here. We are going to kill all of these things. We're going to get rid of all this complicated i3 gibberish, at least for now. And we're going to go launch new editor from here, or not new editor, new instance of the game from here. And where did it go? It went over here. We'll shift it over to this desktop. We're going to need to see these all on the screen at once. Maybe I should put these on like their own desktop. And then I can do, hang on. So I've got a desktop just for launching these, and I will split it this way, and then split it this way, and then we need to get a couple of windows here so I can make this one tabbed. A couple of windows here so I can make this one tabbed. Okay, I think we're getting a pattern down. This is kind of like when we did the first VR stream, and I had to like figure out like how are we going to view the headset and switch around to all this stuff. So I apologize for the delays and things here, but we'll get it. We'll get it. And oh my god, retro tank party. Let's go spawn over here. I have to send it over there. Close, but not quite. There. Okay. Whew. Hey, Logan, welcome to the stream. And Mauricio. What do you guys got as far as characters? We got Logan. Oh, Logan is looking pretty cool. He's got my haircut going with the no hair in the middle. And Mauricio is our first orc. Or no, Gulliver Yaham also an orc with the fro. We got 2 orcs. You guys are rocking the orc contingent. You guys are looking good. Those are some good looking characters right there. Okay. For real now. Let's get a private match going, and we have the spectator button here, which I'm just going to preemptively click for this guy, and we're going to paste, get this one connected, paste. All right, so the way that this should work is the top one should be a spectator, the bottom ones should be real players. We are going to pick anything, it doesn't really matter. And oh, okay, so down here, this controls this player. And I have the wrong control scheme, or at least that's the control scheme I don't like. Let's get to not Novochesne, we'll go to retro. And, alright, and this one controls this character, and the window up at the top is the spectator, but they have no camera controls. Basically, if I just drive this guy off, they see nothing. So we need to fix that. I think that's the first thing we're going to do. I made a list of things. The first is camera controls for the spectator, and the second is allowing more than 4 players in a match. So there can only be 4 real players in a match because we only have the 4 tanks, we only have the 4 spawn positions on all the different maps. But I want to be able to have 4 players and up to 8 total connected clients, so that we can have 4 players and 4 spectators. So that one will probably be a little more complicated. We'll need to have the host do some regulation saying, if 2 people decide that they want to be players, but we don't actually have enough slots for players, it's going to have to deny one of them and say, no, you got to be a spectator. Yeah, first things first, we need some kind of controls. I'm thinking we could do arrow keys to like switch between cameras that follow each of the players, and maybe a camera that views the whole field, and maybe some buttons to control that, because arrow keys, people might not figure that out. So maybe actually we'll start with the buttons. Or I don't know. We'll start with whatever's easier. Whatever's easier for us to code. Hey, Cyber Habanero, welcome to the stream! The project rollback and use C# to use fixed numbers. Yeah, that's a possibility. There's a lot of fixed point numbers in C# that could totally work. Lots of orcs. Hey, Galamorta, welcome to the stream. Having to code a multiplayer game for college right now. Cool. Using Postgres as a database. Interesting. So if you're using a database, that probably means you're doing like a long-lived game, like an MMO style thing. I'd be very curious to know, what kind of game you're doing, since databases usually aren't required except for those kind of big, persistent world type games. Did I miss any other chats? I don't think so. All right. Let's get down to this. So I'm going to close a whole bunch of windows here, including this one. Is that going to make that frame go away, though? To make this frame stay, I'm going to spawn one of these. And hopefully now I can jump in here and quickly launch those instances back up, and we won't have to do so much window management. All right. So... yeah. Let's see. The structure of the game is sort of complicated. There's a whole bunch of indirection, partially to allow modding. The game has modding support, and partially to support that we have all these different game modes. So we'll have to decide exactly which component within the system is going to be responsible for handling spectator support. And I'm thinking we have this game scene, which really doesn't do all that much. It just kind of like spawns the the tanks and the cameras. But if we want spectator mode to work the same for all game modes, this thing is always there. The game scene is always there, and then we have these like manager scenes that control the different game modes. But this would be a good place if we wanted to be standardized. If we wanted to have spectator mode work differently, depending on which game mode you're in, then we could make this the responsibility of the manager scenes. But then we'd also have to code it up in each and every one of them, which would be kind of annoying. Although I suppose we could maybe make like a component for it, and then like the modes could just drop in a component for a standardized thing. But let's do it this way first until I realize that this is wrong for some reason. Gallomortal says, having a database is a requirement from college. Interesting. Oh, for the user accounts and stuff? Okay, yeah. Yeah, that is a use for a database. I use Nakama to handle user accounts and matchmaking and all of that kind of stuff, which uses either Postgres as the database or CockroachDB. And I think I'm using CockroachDB, but they both use the Postgres protocol, so you can swap them. A metal slug clone. Oh, wait. Nakama and C#. So you're using Nakama too with Postgres then, I guess. Cool. Hey, Crabsoft, welcome to the stream. I don't know why you weren't subbed already either. I'm glad you took care of that. Thank you for subscribing, by the way. All right. So we've got the game scene. We have a HUD in the game scene, which is nice. It uses, it's got a specific HUD just for it, I think. What is the path to the scene? Is there a quick way to see what the path is to the scene? Yeah, okay, so it's in-game. Cool. So this is great, actually. If the game scene has its own HUD scene, there's a whole bunch of HUD scenes, by the way, because the different modes have their own HUDs and whatnot, but this is great. Then we can put the spectator controls on here. So maybe we will do buttons first. We'll put a VBox container. Oh, Logan, I saw you on Twitter your snowing thing. That looked awesome, by the way. I really want to see where that goes. Ah, okay. You're doing GDSkip directly. What are those floaty things? Hey, Obina Ngwu. Sorry if I'm butchering your name. Feel free to tell me how it's pronounced. I will pronounce it better. So the floating things on the screen is the stream overlay that puts a little character for each of the people who comment. It is a Godot game that we created on stream about a year ago. Some people had some really great suggestions on the last stream, which I didn't have a chance to implement. One was to make the characters fade away after it's been a while since they've said anything. And I think that would be great. And I'm sorry I didn't implement it. I suppose we could go implement it right now, but I don't feel like it. I want to work on the spectator thing. But yeah. And the code for it is open source. It's on GitLab. So if you want to use it on your own stream, you can. That is cool. All right, so we got this VBox container. I'm thinking we put some messages in the top right related to networking stuff. There are no weapons or abilities if you're a spectator, and those go in the top left. So I'm thinking the spectator controls will also go in the top left. They'll take the place of the weapon and ability markers. Spectator controls. And I'm thinking we'll populate them with just normal buttons, I think. I don't think we need to do anything special. Let's just get this in the right place. Oh, this is an HBox container? Okay, we don't want to be inside of that. We want to be our own thing. Floaties are we. Okay, so this is cool. This is at the top left. Did I totally like break the layout on these? I hope not. And we want the script to be in the HUD. That is the question. I think we don't. Or maybe we want just a part of it. So the current code that's in the HUD scene is just setting, clearing things. So maybe we just want to set and clear things here. we will add maybe a signal, which will be like spectator button pressed, and it will need to be passed something. What should it be? Or maybe we create the buttons in another script and just add them here. We'll say like add spectator button, or add spectator control, remove spectator control. That might be good. Then that makes this really, really generic. I'm just curious about where the blinking comes from. Or maybe, where does the blinking come from? What are these labels? Let's go look at these labels. It's weird trying to come up with a design that fits in with a design I already did. Okay, so these labels are special. They have their own controls, which we must be accessing directly. Yeah, we're calling like set blinking on them. Okay, so accessing things directly is sort of okay in this scene because we're doing it for the weapon ability and this ability. Yeah, let's just do like add control, remove control, clear control, those kind of methods. So we'll say add spectator control, and it will be any kind of control, and we'll give it a name. Or we can take the name from the control itself. And we just add the control and remove the control. Redo. Spectator controls. Spectator, come on. Oh, I gotta save the HUD. And then my autocomplete will work. Spectator controls. Yeah, let's just take the control. And we'll assume that the caller will have set the right name on it. So this is basically just going to be like spectator controls, add child, control. We'll do remove, spectator control. And we'll take a name. Which will be basically like spectator controls, get node, name. Get node. Yeah, I think I was wondering if I should do get node or null, but I think we do want this to be logged as a warning if it doesn't exist. So we'll leave get node. We still have to check if child to avoid a crash. We'll say spectator controls, remove child, remove child, the child, and we have to queue free the child. Okay. And clear spectator controls. Clear spectator controls, which will loop over the children. So for child in... this is sort of funny that we're going to do... Well, whatever. We don't clear very often, so it doesn't need to be performant. I was going to say it's funny that we're going to get the child object, and then we're going to turn it into its name, which is going to then get the child object again, but that's fine. It's a thing we're not doing very frequently. There's no sense in spending the time to refactor it. Okay. So now the game we have the HUD object here. Which piece of the code knows we're a spectator first? Game setup, blah, 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 blah. So perhaps during game setup, because this is, we're doing a whole bunch of setup things. We're setting up Johnny Appleseed here. We're creating the player cameras. What happens in this one? Okay, so then here we clear all labels, which I should have that also clear the spectator controls. Oh, Gallimore thought I was using C# due to the external editor, but it's just GDScript. Yeah, I like using VS Code because of the Vim key bindings, and other things. I've really gotten into VS Code. I like that I can have little task scripts that can do things. I guess for Retro Tank Party, I just have it building different versions of the game because there's some C++ in the game. But in other projects, like in the Voxel VR game, I have some scripts for generating some resources that are then used in the game, but they're created by separate scripts. They're not created in game, and so I have VS Code tasks for. VS Code is cool. I like VS Code, and it's nice that I'm using the same code editor for when I'm doing C++ or C# or Python or PHP. I'm not switching to a different editor for each programming language that I do, which was something that I used to do until a couple months ago, until I started switching to VS Code for everything. Anyway, we are in the game. We know we're a spectator from a couple of different things. Let's maybe look at a diff of the code. Get rid of the split. So let's just look at a diff to master, or not to master, sorry, to devel, which is basically the same thing, it appears. And where is kind of the canonical place that we are deciding we're a spectator or not? So we have a spectating variable in a couple of different places. This is in the sync manager, which I don't know if I want game accessing the sync manager, maybe, but we also have it in one of our game scenes too, or at least I thought we did. Maybe we don't. Okay, maybe sync manager is the place to store it. Let's is game accessing sync manager for anything else? It is. Okay. Bam. We are allowed to. It's doing it already. Okay, so we are in game setup. We get the players. We get my ID. There's never going to be a player for my ID. So then it will set up watch camera. Why doesn't that happen? Why doesn't it do that now? Okay, we have to figure out exactly what is calling setup game and why it is giving players to spectators. Okay, let's search. We're gonna look for .game setup, and we don't want to use that as a regex. So it looks like the individual game managers for the different game modes are calling it. And where do they get their players from? Oh, interesting. I wonder if we had tried going into a game that put a scoreboard on the bottom, or a game mode that put a scoreboard on the bottom, if it would have put a score section for the spectator player. Because that's definitely something we don't want to have happen either. Okay, so set up players. Get active players by peer ID. Okay, so this should just include the non-spectators. Get active players by peer ID. Because I believe active players is non-spectators. Yep. Okay, so then why did we not get a watch camera over here in game? So we get our ID, and we say if players has an ID, then we set up a player camera. If not, we set up a watch camera. Maybe it doesn't make the watch camera the current camera. That could be the problem. Enable watch camera is something that needs to get called. Okay. Let's do that. That might be an interesting place to start to begin with. So set up watch camera. Enable. Or what was it? Was it a non underscore? Enable watch camera true. Why is this in a separate method? Oh, because it's called also on game reset. Interesting. So maybe we don't want clear all labels to clear the spectator controls? Let's maybe remove that. So I think this will cause us to be switched to the watch camera. And then what we need is we need to generate these buttons if we are spectators. That would be like if sync manager spectating, I think is what it's called, spectating. Or not. Let's double check. Crabsoft says, what I don't get is the white background thing. Yeah, for whatever reason, I know like programmers are supposed to like dark themes. I have trouble seeing them. I have trouble, my eyes, I have eye strain and vision issues when I have a black background, so I like the white background. Everyone's different. That's why it's configurable. Yep, it's called spectating. Okay, so if we are spectating, then we want to loop over, well, first of all, we want to create a button that is for the watch camera. So, yeah, we're going to want, we'll say watch camera button equals button new. Our, oops, watch camera button text will be, so this is the button you would press to see the whole field. I don't know what to call it. I don't know what text to put there. We'll just say all for now. And we want to connect to its pressed signal. And we want to call to our, does pressed have any arguments? Does it pass any arguments by default? Let me just double check in the docs here really quick. Or is that in base button? I think it's a base button. Pressed. No arguments. Okay, cool. So we can just have it, we can just connect it directly to enable watch camera with the value of true. All right, and we will add that button to the HUD. Add spectator control. And actually here we want to clear the spectator controls always before we start. This is our watch camera button. And then we are going to want to loop over the players and create buttons for each of them. Crabsoft says I'm up to around 5K in my 3D multiplayer project, and I can just feel how janky the code is. Yeah, struggling to find a place to start to clean up. Yeah, it's hard sometimes to know exactly how to refactor. I find that like sometimes I have to like write all the code terribly before my brain can see the whole picture, and I can figure out how to make it cleaner, how to make it better. So for players. What does it be for player ID in players? So set up player camera. What does that actually do? Set up player camera takes a camera position, sets up limits, but it's not actually attached. I think we kind of always want to set up the player camera though. We just don't know where to put it. Right? We always want the player camera to exist. We just might attach it to a different player. And don't we always want the watch camera to exist also? Like, what normally calls this? Reload map. Sets up the watch camera. I kind of think we want to always set up the both cameras. I don't see why we would not want to. Well, okay, so the watch camera should get set up automatically by calling load map, right? Because I saw that in there. Unless it can't load it. Sets the new scene, it calls reload map, and then that does a bunch of stuff, including setting up the watch camera. Okay. This is what happens when this code has existed since 2019. Things get confused about what they're doing. Okay, so we do not need to set up the watch camera, like, ever. The player camera, we need to set up, but we just don't know where to point it, because the character doesn't have a player. So, how about we just point it at the first player? Whoever that is. So, player indexes, I believe, are sequential. So I think we can do this. And then this loop, or not this loop, this conditional will be solely about setting up the player camera, which makes it make more sense to move that code down here. So, okay, the player camera will be set up, but we won't be using it. We'll be using the watch camera. And then we need to create these buttons. Say player camera button, button new. We'll set the text to be the player name, which, how can we get that? I guess we have to get the actual player object here. So players equals, or player equals players indexed by the player ID. And then player, I think, has like a player name on it. I'm not sure. We'll have to look up what the properties are on there. I wish I would have used a type hint in here so I would know where exactly to look for that. Oh, here's the player objects. Okay. And name, not player name, just name. Player name. And then we are going to need to have something happen when the button is pressed. What's going on in chat? I'm using the custom multiplayer API so that I can have multiple clients and servers in the same scene. It just speeds up development. Also makes couch co-op easier. Yeah, so that's cool. I've never actually done that. But yeah, you can have like different parts of the tree attached to different multiplayer API objects, so then you can have the local version and the online version operate exactly the same, which is pretty cool. I've read through Follis's example code for that. Metroidvania project has plus 12k lines of code. Basically re-implement RPC in a way that doesn't require the scene trees to match. That's interesting. I feel like the RPC and making equal scene trees on each of the peers is like this really cool hack in the sense that it saves so much time. I don't know, like I think that's a very clever choice by Godot to take that approach because you can make something real quickly and skip a bunch of steps. Yeah, I also would be interested to see this Metroidvania, as I'm always just interested to see games people are making. All right, we need something to happen. So there is somewhere a method that attaches the player camera to a particular player. Kill player, on player dead, enable watch camera. Where the heck is this method? I'm sure it's here. Let's say player camera. Let's just look for everything that does stuff with the player camera. Oh, okay. This is going to be a problem. It looks like the way the code is written now is that the players have a reference to their camera and then do things to the camera, where what we actually need is to allow having a camera that refers to the player. Although maybe it's fine. Actually, maybe it's totally fine. Because there's never going to be the player and the spectator in the same scene. So maybe we need to make a method that does these 3 lines. And then we can call it from here, and we can also call it from when we want to switch to a particular player. So let's say func attach player camera, and we need the player node, or yeah, I guess so. Player node, and it's void. Say spawned node. Or wait, first of all, yeah, let me just copy these lines. I'll just copy these lines. Rename some stuff. Set up player camera, player node, player node, player node. All right, and then we'll have this call that. Attach player camera, spawned node. And when the player dies, we need to ensure that we enable the watch camera. So let me find, there's a dead callback here. Yeah, so I think what we need to do here is we need to say if player node camera equals player camera, then we need to enable the watch camera as just a default. And this player dead signal here will call into the manager scene for the different game mode and potentially do something different than enabling the watch camera. And hopefully that will work. It's possible that this is like, yeah, I could maybe make this conditional on spectating to reduce the chance that there's going to be some spillover, that this is going to break something. So now only if we are spectating and the player node camera equals the player camera, then we enable the watch camera. That should be good. Okay, so we have these buttons. We're making these buttons, and they need a method they can call that will look up the player node and then call that attach player camera method that we just created. So let's write that method. We will maybe put it down here around on player dead. We'll call it on spectate player button pressed. Does that sound like a good method name? On spectate player button pressed. On spectator player camera button pressed. On spectator player camera button pressed. And this is going to take the player ID, which is an integer, and we need to get the player node. There's got to be some method for that in here, right? Oh, so if this player's dictionary, does that contain, that contains the player's class. We need the node though. Get node anywhere in here? Okay, so this is, oh, get tank. Get tank gets the player. So let's go back to where we were. Wow, I moved around a lot. I'm totally lost. Okay. There's this cool feature in VS Code. If you hold Alt and press left, you'll go back to your previous cursor positions, which can frequently be used to like look at something and then jump back to where you just were. But I was too many places. It just didn't work. Okay. Player node equals get tank player ID. As always, we need to check if it's null, if player node. Then we need to say attach player camera, player node. Okay, so that should make our buttons actually do something once it's connected. So we'll say player camera button connect pressed self on spectator player camera button pressed. And we need to make sure that the player ID is passed in. We're going to need some way to clean up these controls when players disconnect. I'm not sure the right place or way to do that. Or actually, we need to have them disappear even when the player is just not in the match anymore, or their character is dead, even if they're still in the session, right? Because in Battle Royale mode, you know, the number of players still in will reduce, it'll whittle down, and there's no point in having a button to a player that's already dead. Like that doesn't do anything. Oh, Crabsoft is making an open world peer-to-peer kind of game. That's really interesting. Peer-to-peer and open world don't usually go together. I would love to learn more about what you're making there. So, Crabsoft, who missed the first 10 minutes of the stream. So we're implementing spectator mode for the Godot Rollback netcode library, which I maintain. And to test spectator mode, we are adding spectators to Retro Tank Party. And we just want to have a way, when you're a spectator, to switch between a camera that follows each of the players and a camera that sees the whole match. As of right now, when you join as a spectator, you just get a camera that's stuck up at 0, and you can't move. You just see that spot. If no one's standing there, you don't get to see anything interesting. That's just how it is. So, oh, and I just realized we need to name these things. Something special. So player camera button dot name is going to need to equal player, say underscore plus player ID, and the watch camera button name is going to need to be watch camera. That seems fine. And then, yeah, like I was saying, when the players die, we need to remove the button. And then we'll need to add the button back. Okay, so all of this code needs to be in a method. So I have a func create spectator player camera button. Player ID is what we're going to take. So say create spectator player camera button player ID. Okay. Now where do all the players get created? Where does that happen? Game setup, get tree, game stop, this sort of intro stuff, set up a player camera, set up spectator controls. Respawn player. Hang on. Is this where all the players actually get spawned? I think so. Okay. Man. Or no, it happens here. It happens here. Okay. So we should actually be adding the buttons when the actual tank scene spawns, which means up here, we don't actually want to do this yet. We want to do that down here, right before we emit the signal. So we need to say if sync manager spectating, then we create the player camera button for their peer ID. And then when the characters die, when the players die, we need to remove them. So where is that? I think that's in on player dead. Which, yeah, so if spectating. So, okay, if spectating, we need to do a couple of things. We need to do this thing we had here before. And we need to additionally go HUD, remove spectator control, which is going to be named player underscore peer ID. Hey, Boss MP Gaming, welcome to the stream. Gulliver Yaham, I'm making a free deterministic engine. By deterministic, do you mean, by engine, do you mean a physics engine, or do you mean a whole game engine? And is your game engine unique, or is it based on Godot? Because there is actually, what is it called? There is someone who's making a fighting game engine built on Godot, which uses some of my rollback netcode stuff for the similar goal. You're saying you're making 2D fighting games easier for everyone. This other engine does that too. Let me look up what the name of it is. I'm looking in Discord because I'm on the Discord for this thing, whose name I can't remember. Oh, Castagne. I have no idea how this is supposed to be pronounced. It looks Italian, sort of. Here, let me Google it. Or I'll see if there's a link in this Discord. We'll Google it. Castagne, Godot. The Castagne fighting game engine. Built in Godot, and I think it integrates, last I checked, my Rollback netcode add-on. But, whoa. Let me see what else. What else has happened in chat? Chat's been busy since I've been hacking. Mudgen? What is that? It's not for example. Hey, buddy Adrian, welcome to the stream. Sorry for welcoming you late. Are you planning to make a tutorial video for implementing spectators in game? I'm not sure. That's probably a good idea. I should probably make an episode in the Rollback netcode series about spectators. It is a little bit tricky. Like fundamentally, you're just saying spectator yes, spectating equals true on your sync manager, but then you also, all the other peers in the match also need to mark you as a spectator, and that's a little bit tricky, right? Because if it's peer-to-peer, you have to have a scheme for sharing all of that information. But once you do that, it's basically the low-level stuff does itself. Oh, hey, buddy Adrian, remembered the name before me. All right. Okay. Where was I? I suspect we wrote all the code we need to write. I'm sure it's broken. I never write code correctly the first time, but I think we've got what we need. We have the bit UI. Oh, you know what? We might need to make sure it's in the right spot. Although I think it's okay up here. Let's add a little button just so we can see what it looks like. Come on. What's going on? There we go. We'll say like, watch camera. Ooh, and that shows me we are missing the theme. Let me grab the theme resource here. Can there be more than one spectator, and can they chat? So yes, there absolutely can be more than one spectator. The Godot Rollback netcode add-on is at a low level, so it's just is at a lower level, I should say. It's just concerned with making the rollback work. If you want to have your players chat with each other, that would be something that you would implement specific to your game. It wouldn't have to do with the Godot Rollback netcode add-on. I don't intend to implement chat in my game, at least at the moment, because I just don't care. I honestly would really like to move on from working on Retro Tank Party and focus more on my VR stuff. But because Retro Tank Party is a great test bed for the Godot Rollback netcode add-on, when I add a feature to the Godot Rollback netcode add-on, I like to add it to Retro Tank Party. It would be pretty easy, though, to implement chat because Retro Tank Party uses Nakama as its server, which has a chat component in it. So, I don't know, it'd probably take me a day or two of work to add chat to the game, but I don't intend to. If someone really wants it, the game is also open source. If someone else is more motivated than me to add that feature, then yeah, I would take that change. I would accept that. Okay, this looks pretty good here. Okay, so let's test this. Let's see what happens. Let's see what this thing does. And I gotta jump over. Wait, hang on. I gotta launch a bunch of instances here and remember how I'm doing them. As I mentioned earlier, I don't know how many people who are here now were on at the beginning of the stream. I just switched window managers from Ion to i3, and simple things like moving my windows around is a little tricky for me because what did I just do? I'm still learning i3. Huzzah! Okay. Let's launch another instance. And where did that one go? Right over here. Okay. Whew. 3 instances launched. All right, we are going to create a private match. Make this one be the spectator, so I don't forget to click that button, which, by the way, is a thing I've done constantly in developing this. And paste. And let's connect and see what crashes. Huh. Okay. Okay, so far so good. The spectator spawned spawned. They didn't really spawn, but they started out in the watch camera. So let's try clicking some of these. Okay, this took me to supposedly be connected to this player's camera. Sweet! And then this one should take me to be connected to this player's camera. Yeah! And then can I go back to the watch camera? I can. What? We just wrote code that worked the first time we tested it. When does that ever happen? Like, never. So, let's test some of the other cases here. Let's, kill one of the players. See what happens. Ooh, there's some bug with that player being stuck white. That's interesting. My button did not disappear. Whoa! And now I got way more buttons. Too many buttons. That's too many buttons. Okay, so what do these buttons do, all these extra ones? Okay, so they all take us to the second player and the watch button. Okay, so something in removing the buttons doesn't seem to be working. When that player died, their button should have gotten removed. But it did not. Let's take a look at the code. So, on player dead. It's alive, erase. Player node, get player node, if player node, and player controlled, then we tear down the player listener and clear all labels. That actually, we need to also tear down the player listener in this case. I didn't think about that before. The player listener is for spatial audio, 2D audio. Oh! Crabsoft is an i3 fanboy. Awesome. More i3 users out there. Yeah, like I mentioned, I was using Ion since 2001. So 21 years. Nobody uses Ion anymore. There's like the number of people using Ion is probably roughly equal to the number of contributors to Ion, which is probably like 4. So it was good that I moved on to i3, something that's used by like actual people. Okay, so what's going on here? So we get the peer ID for the tank. We check if it's in the alive dictionary, which it should be, right? Then we say if we're spectating, if player camera equals player camera, tear down the player listener, enable the watch camera, and then the HUD. Did I like name these different? I swear I did player underscore player ID. Something worth checking, which I've already killed the client, haven't I? Or no, I didn't, because it's over here. Whew. Okay, something worth checking would be going to the remote version of the tree and looking in here to see what all those buttons are named. So we need to go onto this canvas layer, the HUD, spectator controls. Why didn't the controls get removed? That's very interesting. So we can see the duplicates. When that particular player died, we should have gotten this callback. We should have said remove player control, this player name. Did I mess up some code in this method, in this HUD method? So if child, spectator controls, get node name, move child, child queue free. Relying on the node names is not ideal. See if someone in chat noticed it. Using Windows is really, really rough after you get used to i3. Alt-Tab is for crazy people. Yeah. I mean, I use Alt-Tab for things in apps, like in VS Code. It lets me go to the last like couple of files I looked at, and that's kind of nice. And then I can also, of course, just type the file name. But yeah, for navigating Windows in your desktop, Alt-Tab is madness. Press it 50 times. Is there a situation where onPlayer dead would not be called? Where player would be killed, but onPlayer dead would not be called? Hey, AirC, welcome to the stream! We are debugging an issue with the UI here, but otherwise we are making really sweet progress. The spectator has some controls to decide which player they're going to follow, which occasionally work and occasionally don't. So right now, for whatever reason, they all go to this one player node, which also shouldn't happen. There also shouldn't be this many buttons. Basically, it worked until players died. Buttons should have been removed when the players died, and they weren't removed. And I'm not sure why from looking at the code. I might need to run this in the debugger, but that sucks always because the debugger will break the networking, kill the match. Because it'll halt the client, and if it's not responding, it'll be assumed to have disconnected and yada yada. So I'm trying to look at this and come up with a theory first. That's my plan. Another option. Well, no. So we always need, if the player dies, we need to remove them. We need to remove that button. What I was going to say was maybe we need to just always, each time a new round starts, to wipe out the old buttons and put in completely new buttons, but that still doesn't help us in the fact that we do need them to go away when a player dies. In like, it's not the end of the match, but the match is still going, and now the dead player cannot be clicked on their camera button. Okay, so we spawn a new player. Not player has. Okay, yeah, so we don't have the player object. If player. So it's possible that, like, when a new round starts, if the player's already there, they don't get removed. But that should actually be fine. The button will still work. Only passing in the ID. Just not understanding how we can end up in a situation where the player dies and this code doesn't run. I also don't know why we're doing this. Isn't the tank that? Isn't that what that is? Let's look for on player dead spawned node. Yeah. That's interesting. So this shouldn't be necessary. This should be fine. Spectator control. Hey Furroy, welcome to the stream! Hey Giacomond, welcome to the stream! Does players alive include spectators? No. But that's fine because the player who's dying is actually not a spectator. It's a normal player. And so this should be okay. The player dies. We check if their tank has a peer ID associated with it. I guess we should check if tank exists since we're checking it here. I don't know why it wouldn't though. It will exist. Yeah, I'm just gonna live dangerously and remove those two checks. There's no way that it could not exist at this point. Remove spectator control. Oops. Okay, so this should work. Spectator controls get node by its name. If child, move child, queue free. We know from looking in the remote tree that it's named what we think it is. Alright, let's bring out the debugger. I think because I didn't start up the debugger earlier, or through VS Code, I have to do it in the Godot editor. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to the game.gd as soon as I find that. Nope, I want you to open it over here. I mean, I should just restart this in VS Code, but then I have to start all my different clients up again. It's got to be a way to do this. Okay, here's what I'll do. I will temporarily disable loading things in VS Code, and then I'm just gonna do this. There we go. Then let's re-enable it because that's gonna confuse me later. Okay. We need to set a breakpoint over here. We'll see what happens straight from here. So we're going to go kill some players. All right, this guy's gonna go over here and kill this guy. All right, and the match is gonna die, but that's fine, assuming we actually find the error. Okay, so killer ID 2, peer ID 3. Let's look in players alive, make sure that contains what we think it should. It has 2 and 3. Cool. Let's travel down here. We'll say step over. All right, we're erasing it. If tank player controlled, it's going to be false because we're the spectator. If spectating, this should be true. If tank camera equals player camera, I don't recall if this is true. I don't remember what camera we were using, but maybe it's true, maybe it's false, doesn't matter. I guess it was true. Cool. Now here, we should remove this button from the HUD. So we're going to say step into remove spectator controls. So now we have spectator controls. We're over here. The name that we are passing in is player_3, which I guess was a bad choice for a variable name because that shadows the name property on this node, but it's fine. GDScript should do the right thing there. So we'll say step over. Child gets set to an object. It's an object that says dsnowpack, which is cool. That's what we want it to equal. I think that might even be this object, player3 right here. Okay. Then we step over, remove child. Player3 vanishes from this list. That's good. Queue free. Now, it worked, but, of course it's not rendering because we're in the debugger. I guess just play. I'm not sure. Let's just restart these and try this again. I did make a bunch of random little code changes as we were going. Let me make sure I saved them. And let's start launching things. Send you over to 9. We'll go over to 9. I want you to be on top so I can keep things straight. Then we're going to launch 1. Send you over to 9. To launch another. And send you over to 9 in this one. Okay. Let's make a private match. I am the spectator. Copy. Clay, dołącz. Okay, so this dude's going. My spectator buttons are working. I can go to this player. I can not go to this player. Or what? No? This button's busted. Wonder if that's a clue. Both buttons are doing the same thing now. They did both work before. Did I just break them? All buttons go to this player. Let's go look at the code for that just to see if we can't solve that mystery. So on spectator player camera button pressed, we say get tank, player ID, player node, attach player camera, it's player node. Oh, we are not removing ourselves from the previous player. So the cameras are stored on the player nodes. We're saying player node camera equals this camera, but now we're saying two players. We're saying, hey, here's our camera. That is not right. How are we going to fix that? One option is we keep track in game who is the player node that we last assigned the camera to. The other option is we loop through them, disconnect them all, set them all to null, which might be a nice thing to do anyway, because we'll probably also want to do that every time we enable the watch camera. So we'll say clear player camera. So we're going to say for I in, or no, we can say for child in players node. Well, that's crazy. I've been naming a lot of variables player node, but there's also a players node, just to confuse myself. Get children, and and then we're going to say if camera in child and child.camera equals null. And we are going to go clear player camera, and then in enable watch camera, we also want to clear player camera. Is there anywhere else that we'd want to clear the player camera? I think that probably covers it. So that's probably why the button, the second button, isn't working. That doesn't explain why. Okay, so I think all the times I've been having this player kill this player, but I'm gonna have this time this player kill this player. Oh, I never got rid of that breakpoint. Ah. Ooh, what's happening now? Joyous, joyous bugs! The spectator is still in the match, even though the match doesn't technically exist anymore. And this one's just shooting and shooting and shooting. What has happened? Okay, let's go look and see if we can get some clues as to why it still thinks we're connected, even though we're like clearly not connected. Interesting. I am not sure. We'll have to test that too. We'll have to test if the match ending also removes the spectator. It should. I don't see why it shouldn't, but... Oh, I missed a whole bunch of chat. Sorry, guys. Hey, Sponix, welcome to the stream. Can you make an FPS game on Godot? Yes. Yes, you can. What happens if the player you're following dies? It should switch back to the watch camera. We gotta test it. Does player alive include spectators? Oh, I did see that one. If the player gets removed from players alive before it gets here, could tank be an invalid instance? Those are both interesting ideas for Roy. Yeah, if they got removed from players alive before we reach that point, although in the debugger we did see that code actually running, are we failing to remove buttons or adding too many on respawn? Both. We're doing both things. Add if not OS is debug build around timeout code to keep sessions from dying at a breakpoint. That's a possible idea. How exactly would I pull that off? That's a really good idea, though. So the timing out code is in sync manager. And I forget there's like a helper method we call when we die on a fatal error. Handle fatal error. We'll look for that. Enable to hash state, nope. Requested not found in buffer, nope. Fatal state mismatch, nope. Not enough state in buffer to roll back. X frames, nope. Unable to regain synchronization. This is the one. So I think if we wrapped this in an if statement, we would never quit if we lost sync. I feel like this should not just test for debug builds. I think this should be like a variable that we set. But for now, if OS is debug build, is that what it's actually called? I always look for a feature tag to know if it's a debug build. I'm not sure I knew about this method. Yeah. Yeah, so I always did it this way. You can check if has feature standalone or there's a reverse of that. But whatever. Yeah, I always do it with these feature tags. Cool. But yeah, let's look at the code I was just writing. So I think we do want to say something here. Push warning. Unable to regain synchronization, but keeping session alive for debugging purposes. So then we'll know what's going on there. Yeah. This is interesting. I'm interested to see how this plays out. All right, what else did I miss? Aircy. Oh, did the Asian language bug get fixed, by the way? Yes, it got fixed in 2 ways. Number one, I found a workaround. If I loaded the font in an auto load early on, it would not have the weird font not found thing. And I did eventually figure out what in the Godot code was causing the bug, and I submitted a PR, and it got merged. So the thing with swapping the fonts for the Asian languages totally fixed on several levels. I don't know if the fix made it into 3.5.0, but it's definitely got merged into the 3x and master branch, so it will be released eventually. Are they both going to that player or not switching to an already on player? We wrote code that worked the first time. How often does that happen? I spoke too early. Hey, Tony Mandelblast, welcome to the stream. This is why I sometimes like everything at the lowest level. Yeah, has feature editor. That works too. There's a bunch of different things you can do with feature tags. Okay. Wow, we're getting a lot of characters on the screen. Ooh, we got some cool looking ones. Tony Mandelblast has got sort of a caveman with a staff. Buddy Adrian's got what kind of looks like a gladiator. What I kind of in the VR game Gorn, you have those weird goofy gladiator characters. That's kind of what I picture there. The Crabsoft is like a thief with a dagger. We got some cool looking characters, guys. Boss MB Gaming, I don't think I looked at your character earlier, but you're just a dude in a sweater. I mean, I have a sweater. We can have sweaters together. Okay. Back on track. Alright, so we changed that. Did we change anything else? No, what happened was we didn't get a good test because the match got killed. But now that we have this code added, let's restart our things again so they'll pick up that code. And then we'll see if it works. Alright, I'm sending you over to desktop 9. I'm going to desktop 9. I'm launching an instance. Yeah, I think next stream I'm going to remove the rule that I have in i3 that sends all my Godot instances to a special desktop. I don't want to try to change it now because I have to restart i3 for the change to take effect. I don't know what that's going to do to OBS. OBS is the wild card. It might work fine, might not. Okay. Start a private match. We are a spectator. Bitva. We are hosting all of these things. We are ready. We are ready. We are so ready. All right. So we didn't get a clean test last time because things crashed. But now all the buttons should work. Yes, all the buttons are working. And let's be on the player that's getting killed. That'll let us test another thing. And the button should have gotten removed, but didn't. And now we got a load of duplicate buttons. The interesting thing, too, is we're not getting 2 more buttons, as you would kind of expect. We're getting 3 more buttons. Why are we getting 3 more buttons? That's excessive here. The buttons all seem to work, which I guess is a positive thing. I can hear a little click in the audio. I don't know if you guys can hear it when I switch players, which I assume has to do with switching where the positional audio is coming from, which is fine. I don't think that's an issue, but I guess it's nice to know that it is correctly switching. All right, I think, I don't know what the problem is. This code should work. Oh, Zamao grazie. I was gonna say we're gonna have a test of our code if it gets stuck. I think just because like this code's a little weird, and just feels a little bit wrong. Oh, hey, interesting. If a player goes away, this leads to a crash. So I guess we need to do if players has player ID. I think I'm going to change the way the code in the HUD works. We're actually going to keep track of the spectator controls in a dictionary rather than relying on node names. And then we can do something sane with like refusing to add controls that are already there. I still don't know why, like we stepped through it in the debugger and it removed the control. I should have stepped through it. I should have stepped through it with the debugger again, all to test out the idea, but also, oh my god. Let's get rid of this 99 megacom guy. Where are you, 99 megacom? You're gone. You're off the overlay. We had some spam people some streams back, and I added that feature, and then I can now remove people from the overlay. What did I miss here? Tony Mountablast, your rollback plugin has been an incredible resource to me. Thanks for your work and pouring into it. Thank you. I love to hear that. It's very motivating to me. OBS does not play nice, yeah. Yeah, I can remove the messages too, I think. I think there's a button for that. Block. We will block this user. We'll add them to the block list. Okay, that should have removed his messages in all of the platforms that Restream allows me to do that with. Hopefully. Alright, we're gonna quit out of here. And I'm going to say spectator controls list. It's going to be a dictionary. And we are going to do some special stuff here. We're going to take a name, which is going to be not just the control name. It's going to be like the name that we put on the dictionary. So we're going to say if spectator controls has, or actually not has. Oh, why am I typing this in the editor? Let's get back to VS Code. I can press my happy Vim key bindings. Okay. If it not has, then we set it on the spectator controls list, and we add it to the spectator controls node. And then we say if spectator controls list has name again, we grab it, name, and we will remove it, which we're going to check if it has it there to avoid the message. Does hasNode take a string, a node path? Is there another way to figure out if a node has a child? Okay, I guess we'll just call that, and hopefully there isn't a really annoying error for when we get this wrong. And then we free the control. And then here, we'll change the way this works. Say for I guess child in spectator control list values. Do spectator controls remove child queue free, and then and then we will clear our spectator controls list. So at the very least, this should prevent us from adding a control twice, and feels safer because using node names is sort of delicate. We'll need to change our code that's actually calling this. Add spectator control. Add spectator control. Watch camera. Get rid of this. Player underscore plus string player ID. And the rest should be good. It still needs to remove the button when the player dies. I mean, I guess it's not the end of the world if it doesn't, but like, it's annoying. It shouldn't do that. It shouldn't be doing that. Let's go to remove spectator control. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We are going to do another test. We're going to set the breakpoint, which will be cool because it will let us see if the thing that we added due to Furoy's suggestion worked. And yeah, that would be awesome. I just realized I'm no longer in my own Discord here, because I was looking for that Castagne before. Okay, let's do what I just said we're gonna do. Oh, and I need to, or hang on. If I run this from VS Code, all should be good with the world. Let's do, run this. No, what? No, don't compile anything? Okay, never mind. VS Code has all my build steps in here. We're just gonna use a pre-existing build. Okay, so we're gonna do it from the Godot editor again. Okay, we'll open this one thing in the Godot editor. Let's go back to editor settings, re-enable the external editor, launch the game, send you over to desktop 9, launch this, send you over to desktop 9, launch this, and it's a desktop 9 party. Ah! Okay. Whew. Unbox Warehouse. Welcome to the stream. I hope I'm doing a good job of explaining things so that doesn't make people feel dumb. That's like never my goal. But I know sometimes I don't explain things well enough. If anyone ever feels lost or doesn't know what the heck I'm talking about, let me know, because I don't want people to be feeling that way. I'm happy to stop and explain anything. So yeah. All right, everyone, Gotove. Why does my avatar have horns? Because you got lucky. So you have the blacksmith kind of uniform and then the horned helmet. It's a little bit of a juxtaposition there. Okay. Oh, interesting. Why do we have an all and a watch camera? What did I do? I messed something up. I just changed this code, so I'm sure it was something in the change that I just made. Let's get to watch camera. How on earth did the text get set to watch camera? I like never do that. in this code. Whoa, and it's on everyone's? Oh, it's because I put that default node in there to see what it looked like under the assumption that it would get removed, but because we're doing this differently, it doesn't get removed now. Okay, cool. That's what that is. I can fix that for the next time we run this. I gotta go here and remove this. Done. Okay. Now, let's make sure these buttons do what they're supposed to do. All first player, second player. Now let me go. Oh, I'm going to set the breakpoint. Hang on, hang on. So many things. The place we want to set this is on player dead. When the player gets dead. Oh my gosh, no. Can you explain quantum physics? No, I can't. Are you ready or are you gotove? I am always gotove. No, I'm not. If you think you understand quantum physics, then you don't understand quantum physics. Okay, so we're going to have player 1 kill player 2, and we're going to hope that the button disappears. The button did not disappear. We should get the breakpoint though. So everyone, why are you still going? Okay, the thing we added is not quite right. Because when we come back into the match, something terrible is going to happen. All right, so we hit the breakpoint. Let's step through it. Get the peer ID. The peer ID is 3. Beautiful. That is the player we killed. We erase them from the players alive. Player control. You know something? We should also have a breakpoint set at the point where we're creating the button. Because what if it's just like... No, that isn't what it is. I was going to say, what if it's just creating the button again really fast? But before we had like duplicates, so it's definitely not what's going on. Right, remove the camera. And then this should remove the player control. We're going to step into... so we get it from the list. We do have it. We get the control. We remove the child. We free it. All right, let's continue here. We'll go back to here. The thing we added to try and make it not time out when a player dies did not work. What in the heck? Okay, I'm just going to remove the breakpoint and try it again. And see if that gives us some more info. Just watching how it goes throughout. Okay. I want to be player 2. There is a possibility that just rewriting the way that we are adding and removing the control buttons will fix it. Ha ha ha! It went away! Alright, and then when the next round happens, it didn't come back. You know what? I think I know what I did there. We forgot to also remove it from the list. So that should be the first thing we do. Spectator control list, erase, name. Alright. I mean, let's try it one more time, but I think we got it. I think this is working. I don't know why it wasn't working before. I feel like the code we had should have worked, but it did not. So let's just try this, and if it works... it's not letting me quit from here. Do I have to quit from... Attempt to call queue free in previously freed or null on previously freed instance on null instance. Okay, so we need to actually this should be fine with the change I just made with this erase. That was totally the problem. So, okay. Let's restart. If we've got this, that means we at least got the camera controls done today. And that is something. The other part that I wanted to do today that we did not get to was allowing to have 4 players and up to 4 more spectators in the same match, which will have to come later. But this is an accomplishment in itself. This is good. This gets us closer to knowing that the spectator support in the Godot Rollback netcode add-on works, leading eventually, hopefully, to some playtests where we can have some people be spectators, probably me, so that I can mess with it and run the debugger. What did I do? The wrong thing is what I did. Okay. Nah. There we go. Okay. I3, still getting used to I3. Okay. Let's just see that things seem to be working. So do that. The button should go away. The button should go away. Why didn't it go away? What? Get invalid index player 3 on base dictionary. I just made a stupid programming error. A real stupid programming error. You guys probably saw it before me. Someone in the chat is screaming, "You removed the thing before you used the thing." Okay, we'll put it at the end. I do like to put these kind of like gates at the beginning so I don't forget to do them, but it obviously doesn't work here. I guess we could do it like this. Oh, Mega69, get out of here. I'm banning you. And I'm clearing you out of here, although you did get a sweet braided orc. Okay. We have 3 minutes left of the stream. All good things must come to an end, but let's use these 3 minutes to do one final solid test and commit our changes to Git and claim victory in the spectator arena, the spectator, whatever. We'll say we won. What did I do? I did something wrong. I sent something to 9 I didn't mean to send to 9. I sent OBS to 9. All right, let's let's send OBS back to desktop 3. Come on. There you go. Clear these ones out. This is a good test of using i3 on a stream. Sorry that it ended up taking up so much of my attention. Yeah, Gulliver, he will get all his VPN IPs banned. I don't know what someone gets out of coming to put spam on my Twitch stream or my stream. I've, according to this, like 9 eyeballs. You know, you've spammed to well, I guess, yeah, the videos do end up getting usually like 100 or so views by the end. But still, I'm a small fish is the point I'm trying to make. You don't get much out of spamming. Okay. All right, so we killed it. The button did not disappear. Why did the button not disappear? We had it work once. I mean, the buttons still work. Why did it work one time and not this time? The I wonder if it's related to rollback somehow. Like, is the button getting removed and then we're rolling back and creating it again? Of course, that should just lead to it getting removed again, right? I don't know. I'm happy. It's good enough for now. Good enough to end the stream, commit some stuff and end the stream. Just another bug. Just another bug to track down. We have lots of those. The list never quite ends. Okay. We are going to get rid of that code that I added to Sync Manager. It did not work, although that idea is really cool, that photo I had. So we'll get rid of that. I don't know why the translation's updated. That's weird. It may be because I started using Godot 3.5, which I wasn't using before, but... Or no, I didn't start using Godot 3.5 because I'm still using my SG Physics 2D build. I have no idea what caused that. So we're not going to commit it. We're not going to commit those translation updates because that seems weird. We're just going to commit these changes in source. No, not checkout. Ah, I typed the wrong thing. Did I just like totally kill... What? Okay. I'm glad that what I just typed didn't work. I accidentally typed "u" instead of "git." I almost just wiped out all the changes we just made, guys. Okay. Oh, man. Let's look at these changes, make sure everything seems relatively sane. Now let's wipe out the translation changes, not the changes we want to keep. There we go. We'll commit this. So, got spectator camera controls mostly working. And let's push that up to GitLab. Cool. Well, Suicidal Banana, welcome to the stream. You're here just at the last moment. Random guess without having seen most of the code, accidentally drawing all buttons for each player, so 3x3 buttons. I mean, I don't know. We're removing the buttons, and we can see in the debugger the buttons are getting removed, but somehow they're still there. So I don't know what the heck is causing that. Just put the two players in a list and switch it like that. Yeah, that could be. Erzi says, Git is scary. Yes. Git allows you to do just too many dangerous things. My favorite version control system is Bazaar. I don't know if anyone's ever used Bazaar, but it is so user-friendly, and it makes it really hard to do destructive changes, where Git makes it so easy. It's just so easy to like destroy your changes in Git. It's ridiculous. Anyway, thanks everyone for coming to the stream. It was a good time. I am so happy to be back to streaming. I don't think there's going to be anything that's going to come up that's going to prevent me from streaming again next week. I hope. I don't know what we're going to be doing. We might be going back to VR, to working on the VR voxel game. I'm not sure. That's what I really want to work on. But I'm also, like I said earlier, trying to port all of my things, all of the libraries and add-ons and stuff that I maintain to Godot 4, which I don't want to do until I've finished some stuff in the Godot 3 version, so we might dig into that. Like with the deterministic physics engine, that would probably be the first thing that I go after. I don't think we're going to be doing spectators again. I think the last bit that it's going to take to get this finished is something that I'll just do off stream. It's not going to be that interesting. It's just like confirming things with the host. Anyway, thanks again, everyone, for coming. I hope you have a great weekend. Take care, and I will see you later.